Phoenix Suns' new owner Matt Ishbia went the same path that new owners often take. He went all in at the beginning of team ownership. Last year, new Minnesota Timberwolves owners went all in to get Rudy Gobert, and they ended up with just one win in the playoffs. How did it go in the past? Let's check the top 10 teams that went all in but failed. We start at number 10 with the New York Knicks. Back in 1996, the management of Knicks decided to regroup after Pat Riley's departure to Miami Heat. They signed two players as free agents in Allen Houston and Chris Childs, who were after their best seasons. They also traded Anthony Mason to Charlotte Hornets in exchange for Larry Johnson. Their target were of course Chicago Bulls. And during the regular season they were really successful. They won 2 games with Bulls and lost 2. They finished season with 57 wins, at 3rd place in the conference. But in the second round lost to Miami Heat after the fight which resulted in multiple suspensions on Knicks' side. Their window basically was closed then. Next season Patrick Ewing was sidelined throughout most of the season and the playoffs. In 1999 season they added a new piece with Latrell Sprewell and even got to NBA Finals. But without Ewing injured again, they had no response to San Antonio Spurs' Twin Towers. The run ended in 2000, when they lost in conference finals to Indiana Pacers. Number 9 belongs to the team that is still fighting to get out of my ranking. These are current LA Clippers. After winning a championship with Raptors, Kawhi Leonard was a free agent. And he wanted to join the Clippers, but had one condition, which was getting Paul George. Steve Ballmer didn't think about that too much and spent most of the team's future to get PG-13. Clippers sent Danilo Gallinari and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plus 3 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps to Thunder. They already resulted in drafting Trey Mann, Jalen Williams and Jaime Jaquez, and the list will only grow. So far the Clippers made it to playoffs 3 times, even got to conference finals for the first time in team's history. But now I don't believe at all that they are able to get anywhere with George and Leonard as their leaders. And the reason is very simple. It is health. Leonard played so far only 49% of regular season games, whereas Paul George is a bit better, but 58% is not something that you can brag. Number 8 on the list is also connected to Paul George. It took a year for Sam Presti to reorganize a structure of the team after Kevin Durant's departure. In the summer of 2017, he decided to trade away 2 future All-Stars in Domantas Sabonis and Victor Oladipo to get Paul George. The second move he made was a bit smaller cost-wise, but also big because of Carmelo Anthony's name. Presti sent Enes Kanter and Doug McDermott and a future second-round pick, which Knicks used really well drafting Mitchell Robinson. And the results? First season they won 48 games and lost to Utah Jazz in first round of the playoffs. Carmelo Anthony was playing so bad that Thunder decided to trade him away quickly after season ended. They received Dennis Schroeder and Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot instead. Next season they won 49 games, which was one more win, but they lost again in the first round to Damian Lillard and the Blazers. The 7th spot goes to Phoenix Suns, who tried to get a championship in 1993. The Suns from late 80s and early 90s were a really good team. They played 4 straight times in the playoffs and even made it to conference finals twice. In 1992, the team named Paul Westphal a head coach, and even before the draft traded 3 players in Jeff Hornacek, Andrew Lang and Tim Perry for Charles Barkley. The results were fantastic. Suns won 62 games, which was a team's record at that time. Charles Barkley was the league's MVP, but Michael Jordan and the Bulls turned out to be better. Suns tried again next year, but lost to eventual champions in Houston Rockets. In 1994, they signed Danny Manning, one of the biggest free agents that summer, but he played only 46 games and went down due to injury. Suns again lost to Rockets. They were even leading 3-1. The year later, Suns lost in the first round of the playoffs, and Charles Barkley demanded a trade again. But we will come back to this a bit later. When you have young LeBron James in contract here, and you are unable to reach agreement on extension, you go all in. And that's what Cavaliers did in 2009. They were just after the season in which they won 66 games and went to conference finals. But they wanted more, and made first move already in June 2009 by sending Ben Wallace to Phoenix Suns for old Shaquille O'Neal. Then during trade deadline added one more piece with Anton Jamison from Wizards. The result was being kicked out in the second round by Boston Celtics. LeBron James decided to take his talents to Florida, and Cavs won a total of 97 games in 4 years. Luckily, James got back and won a championship with them 6 years later. Number 5 on the list are Brooklyn Nets from 2014 season. The 2013 season was quite okay for them. They won 49 games, but were eliminated by Bulls in the first round, so they went for a rebuild. They hired Jason Kidd as their coach, signed Andrew Bledsoe and Andrei Kirilenko, and made a big trade with Boston Celtics. They got 36-year-old Kevin Garnett and 35-year-olds in Paul Pierce and Jason Terry. And what was the cost of the Celtics trade? 5 players, 4 first-round picks which were turned into Jaylen Brown, Markelle Fultz where Jason Tatum could be selected, and Colin Sexton. These were all Nets picks given away for those old guys. Nets got back 2 playoff berths, and that's it. No results, no future for the team, one of the worst moves ever. The same mistake was done by number 4 on my list, the Lakers from 2004 season. They were champions from 2000 to 2002, but in 2003 lost to Spurs in Western semifinals, so they went all in. They signed 2 future Hall of Famers in Gary Payton and Karl Malone. Together they were able to get to NBA Finals, but lost to Pistons. There were many issues on that team, for example, Karl Malone trying to date Vanessa Bryant. After the team failed, the rebuild started. Payton and Shaq were traded away. Malone retired, and Kobe spent few years of personal vengeance on the league by scoring on everyone. Still, that 2004 season was way not successful. I promised you that we will come back to Charles Barkley. And we are on a 3rd place where Houston Rockets from 1996 stand. After 2 championships in 1994 and 95, Rockets lost 4-0 to Supersonics in 1996 playoffs. So to fix that, they went all in and traded for Charles Barkley in August 1996. They gave up Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, Chucky Brown and Mark Bryant. The results were not bad because they got to conference finals and lost to Utah Jazz. A year later, the older team didn't succeed as well. Rockets again lost to Utah Jazz, but this time in first round. After that, Clyde Drexler retired and Rockets tried to go all in one more time. They were lucky because Scottie Pippen wanted out of Chicago and Bulls wanted to get rid of him. The price was a big contract, plus Roy Rogers and 2nd round pick. Not that much, but the results were not good. All the Rockets got to playoffs after lockout season, but lost in first round again, this time to Lakers. Pippen demanded a trade, was sent to Blazers, Barkley played only 20 more games and retired, and Hakeem Olajuwon stayed 2 more years and was traded to Toronto Raptors for basically nothing. Second place belongs to Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant and the James Harden era. Few years after Garnett-Pierce fiasco, Nets went all in again. They signed Kyrie Irving as a free agent and added Kevin Durant via sign and trade with Warriors. The problem was that Durant was injured and would not play in the first year. But Nets did this trade knowing that first season won't be that successful. After 1 year, they added James Harden from Houston Rockets. The trade cost of Durant and Harden was high. D'Angelo Russell, Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince, Caris LeVert and multiple future draft picks. And again this failed. Due to many reasons, the three played only around 20 games together and Harden demanded a trade. Durant was next and finally Irving was sent out as well. Now Nets are again rebuilding. They again have a young, promising team, but probably in 3 to 4 years they will go all in one more time for some old, injury-prone stars. And finally, the worst team of all on my list are Lakers from 2012 season. They already had Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol and Ron Artest, but decided to get more stars. Firstly, they traded away future picks for Steve Nash, who was already 38 that time. Then, they traded away Andrew Bynum and some other pieces to get Dwight Howard, who was already past his prime. They had a starting five with 5 All-Stars, but never won a single playoff game. The team started really bad, had 2 coaching changes that season, and in April lost Kobe Bryant, who tore his Achilles. In the playoffs, they lost 4-0 to San Antonio Spurs and had to change one more time. Bryant was out for a long time, Artest was waived, Dwight Howard left as a free agent, and Lakers had to wait multiple years until LeBron James decided to go there to be back in the glory again. And that's my top 10 teams that went all in and failed. How do you rate your top 10? Let me know in the comments. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching today and I see you next time. Bye!